Howard gets it in, but it's knocked away by Lexie Hall. Hall with the steal. And the Indiana Fever, beset by major injuries all year long, are on the doorstep of making the semifinals.
Let's call it what it was. A gut check. Win or go home. Down 6 players, frustrated by officiating calls, and playing with zero margin for error. The Indiana Fever faced the ultimate test in Game 3 of the WNBA playoffs against the Atlanta Dream, and they delivered. Kelsey Mitchell took over late with fearless drives. Aaliyah Boston battled relentlessly in the paint, and Lexie Hall came up with the play of her life. Together, they rose to the challenge and pushed the Fever into the semifinals for the first time since 2015. Now comes the bigger question. Was this a one-night spark or the defining moment of a true resurgence? Drop your thoughts below and let's celebrate the Fever's grit.
We've just been through so much this season, giving ourselves another chance in Game 3. Emotions are high. This is a group that's confidence has really never wavered. This group has continued to show their heart, their character, night in and night out.
I think we all piggyback off each other and within our group and our organization.
We've been in every kind of situation you can imagine, and we've been able to find ways to put ourselves in positions to win, and this will be no different.
Somebody has to lose and somebody has to win.
Nearly a decade without a playoff series win. It's more than a stat. It's a weight carried by a franchise, its fans, and every player to wear the jersey. The last time the Indiana Fever advanced this far, Tamika Catchings was still the heartbeat of the team. Natasha Howard was just starting her career, and Stephanie White was her first run as head coach. That was back in 2015, when the WNBA landscape looked completely different. Fast forward to now, and the Fever entered Game 3 facing more than just another matchup. This was about rewriting history and proving they could rise when the moment demanded it.
We talked about the desperation before Game 2 on Tuesday. How does that carry over tonight?
Well, I think anytime that you're a win or go home situation, there's desperation. And so it has to carry over. You know, we're in the same situation. Our back is against the wall. We got to come out and we've got to play with that sense of urgency. We've got to play with that hunger. We've got to value every single possession and every single opportunity.
What made the moment even heavier was the state of the Fever's roster. Think about it. Caitlin Clark sidelined, Sophie Cunningham out, Sydney Carlson unavailable, plus Chloe BBY, Ari McDonald, and Damaris Dandas all on the injury list. That's a massive chunk of scoring, leadership, and experience gone. Suddenly, this wasn't just another playoff game. It was win or go home with a lineup that had to squeeze every ounce of chemistry and grit, just survive. Nobody outside that locker room believed they could pull it off. Ironically, that lack of expectation became their edge. They simply had no choice but to fight.
Now, this one on Lexie Hall got me riled up because this was early on in the game, and this was probably the best defense that Lexie could have played. If you watch this play here, Ryan Howard is going down. Lexie Hall's guarding her. Ryan goes behind her back. Lexie doesn't touch her because she's backpedaling the whole time. She has her hands straight up. Like, this is really good defense that Lexie played here.
Remember Game 1? A parade of phantom whistles, momentum killing calls, and even a technical on their coach. The frustration was obvious, inside the arena and on TV. The Fever didn't forget. They carried that sting with them, using it as fuel. This wasn't just about winning a game. It was about restoring their name after feeling robbed of fair chance just nights before.
Indiana Fever are heading to the semifinals.
Driving to the foul line, in the paint, lays it in. Sims, crossover left to right, gets into the paint, layup, good!
Inside, Boston.
The tone was set even before tip-off. In pre-game interviews, Kelsey Mitchell carried herself with calm determination, her focus hinting that she already knew the scoring load would fall on her shoulders. Aaliyah Boston spoke softly, yet with a steady confidence that spread like fire, fully prepared to battle inside where there would be no hiding. On paper, the challenge looked lopsided. Atlanta entered fully healthy, backed by a loud home crowd at Gateway Center Arena, eager to end Indiana's run. From the outside, the Fever seemed overmatched, but reality ran deeper. Indiana wasn't just staring down the dream. They were staring down a decade of frustration, 6 critical injuries, and the constant whispers that they couldn't break through. In that storm, they made a choice. They chose fight over fear. Which leaves the question, could individual moments of brilliance truly turn years of waiting into the start of something new?
To Jones. Throws it up.
No good! Game over! And the Fever are moving on!
The Fever found themselves in the kind of moment that could define an entire season. Down late in Game 3, with nearly 4,000 Atlanta fans roaring. Every possession carried the weight of months of struggle, injuries, doubts, and battles stacked onto those final minutes. The crowd was relentless, savoring every chance to push Indiana into silence. But the Fever refused to fold. Instead, they leaned on the very players who had carried them all year, and one by one, each stepped into the fire.
Just picked up her second foul, so Hillman and Gray each with 2. Mitchell over the Boston screen.
And that was tough, her hands. But going back to that ball screen here, little movement in the first part of that screen by Aaliyah Boston.
Mitchell, man, she is so good.
Kelsey Mitchell was a heartbeat that kept Indiana alive. Atlanta's defense made her the focus, crowding her touches, packing the paint, and sending help at every opportunity. Still, Mitchell erupted for 24 points, 19 of them in the first half, providing the spark that kept the Fever afloat on the road. When the Dream tightened her scoring lanes, she adapted, adding assists, defensive plays, and hustle moments to keep momentum from slipping away. It was far from easy to score under constant pressure, but Mitchell never wavered. She kept attacking, possession after possession, and that relentless mindset inspired her teammates to match her fight.
Attacking from the outside and now the inside. And Mitchell's been quiet for a while. Not anymore. Mitchell over to Boston. Again, the shot clock winding down. Mitchell, top shot off the bounce to get around Jones.
2 steps behind the three-point line. And the dribble handoff for Kelsey.
Inside the paint, Aaliyah Boston was writing her own story. Matched against Bree Jones, she absorbed hit after hit in the low post without ever losing her composure. Though Jones held a size advantage on paper, Boston countered with timing, positioning, and a sharp sense of when to seal her defender before the battle began.
Alicia just 4 of 16 from the floor in Game 2. That's terrific call. Into Boston. Beautiful.
She finished with 14 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists, but the numbers hardly captured her impact. Every rebound came in heavy traffic. Every assist created a chance the team needed to survive. More than holding her own, she displayed poise beyond her years, anchoring the middle of an undersized, undermanned lineup with resilience and control.
Atlanta has not been good. 40%. Maybe a little higher than that, 45.
Indiana electing not to call a timeout. Boston almost gave it away. Into Boston for the lead. She hits it. Indiana goes up.
Boston gets it. Mitchell is denied, but then Jordan Canada falls. Bree Jones almost gets it, but that's a second defender that's gone down, and Bree Jones.
Then came Natasha Howard, whose impact never relies on flash. Her relentless hustle created extra possessions out of nothing. Loose balls that looked certain belonged to Atlanta's guards instead found their way back to Indiana, thanks to Howard's length, timing, and tireless energy.
That Aaliyah Boston has to really body up with Bree Jones in that situation.
Tasha Howard slashing it. Sims got around the Ryan Howard reach to find Natasha Howard.
The court, Odyssey Sims has 7 points, 3 assists. She's looking to attack.
Odyssey Sims delivered a different edge. Aggression Atlanta struggled to contain. She attacked defenders head-on, absorbing contact, and turning each drive into a potential momentum shift. Her 16 points and 8 assists weren't just stats. They reflected adaptability and instant leadership despite joining late. In a tough road environment, Indiana needed composure and toughness, and Sims supplied both with a mix of grit, poise, and creative playmaking that steadied the team when it mattered most.
A complete skill set in all that she can do.
It's the first miss for Atlanta as Howard could not get it to go. Odyssey Sims, this is what head coach Stephanie White wants from Odyssey, right? With 10 points so far. Sims dribbled right into trouble and was able to score and get back.
Brianna Turner can't be overlooked. She wasn't always a regular in the rotation, but in this game she was essential, closing lanes, contesting shots, and anticipating plays before they unfolded. When fatigue and foul trouble threatened to unravel Indiana's rhythm, Turner provided stability. Her reputation as a professional who always stays ready showed in full. She never needed touches to make her mark. Instead, her selflessness created space for teammates to shine and kept the Fever grounded.
Posting up, setting a screen ultimately that Shea Penny ran into.
Anytime Atlanta needs a bucket, they look to her, and she's wanting the ball as well with the last four for Atlanta.
Aerial Powers was a spark plug Indiana needed. Her minutes were limited, but every stretch shifted the team's energy. She dove for loose balls, battled through screens, and pushed the pace, setting a tone that made teammates elevate with her. Hustle doesn't always translate into box score, but her impact was undeniable. Defensive communication grew louder, the bench more alive, and Indiana's grip on momentum steadier whenever she stepped on the floor with her relentless presence.
Another one of the signees because of injuries in the game. As we approach a minute to go, Aerial Powers in. The ball two. All the injured players to not just cheerlead, but also to give advice to all the newbies. Big block by Powers.
Good help side by Aerial Powers.
Indiana fought their way back, possession by possession. Gateway Center Arena was deafening, high-pitched and relentless. But the Fever answered that noise with discipline. They scraped for stops, manufactured points from scraps, and poured determination into every trip down the floor. By this point, it was clear their survival wasn't resting on a single star. Instead, heart, defense, playmaking, and grit were stitched together across the roster. Every player had a piece of the fight. Every contribution mattered. And when the game tightened, seemingly destined to hinge on the smallest margins, the moment found an unlikely candidate. A player who had battled frustration all night now holding the ball, with history suddenly within reach.